Recently, I made a PlayStation 1 list video going over about roughly 7 to 8 games that I thought that people should definitely own in their collection that were $20 or less. Well, I felt like it was just not enough because there was just more that I wanted to mention, so I decided to make this video, which is a part 2, and we're going to go over some more games, roughly about 7 of them, that are actually a little different than they were in the first video, so I tried to stick with some new genres that we didn't use yet, and these games are for sure $20 or less. So sit back, relax, I'm going to go over these games, hope you guys enjoy. Number 1, Die Hard Trilogy. Die Hard Trilogy is a very interesting one because it's technically a 3-in-1 deal. You get the first movie, the second movie, and the third movie, and they're all 3 different gameplay styles. The first game is a third-person shooter, kind of arcade style, and you just kind of shoot around and stuff. The controls feel pretty decent too for the most part, so it's a fun time. The second game is actually an on-rail shooter. Now, if you're playing on modern TVs, you can only use the D-pad to move the cursor, but that's not too bad. You get used to it. Now, if you have a light gun, with your PS1 or whatever you're playing on, PS2, and you got a CRT television, then you can use the gun for that, which is, I bet that would be kind of fun. And then lastly, the third one is a driving game, where it's kind of like you have to do some mission-based kind of stuff, and it's strictly just driving. So, the cool thing about this game, though, is it's got, versatility. You have 3 different kind of gameplay styles, and this game is only around $15 complete in box. A little less if you get the greatest hits. So, not bad for your buck, honestly. This is kind of an early PS1 game, and you'll kind of know whenever you play it, but Die Hard Trilogy is definitely one I would add to the collection. Number 2, Rayman. Rayman is a 2D platformer developed by Ubisoft back in 1995. It was actually a launch title for the PS1, as well as it was on other systems too, like the Atari Jaguar, Sega Saturn, and MS-DOS. You play as Rayman in this game, and there's this evil dark guy named Mr. Dark. He's taken all these Electoons, and you gotta save them all. So you basically go out, and it's just 2D side-scrolling action like you would expect, with some very good-looking 2D artwork here. This game looks outstanding for 1995. It holds up very well today. If you want to own this game and buy it, there's a long box version, which was the original. It goes for over $50 or so. I would avoid that one. They're actually kind of hard to find anyway. The greatest hits one, though, is definitely a dime a dozen. You can get that one for over $15 complete in box, so definitely worth it, because it's a pretty good game. Also very challenging if you've never played it, so definitely check out Rayman for the PS1. Number 3, N2O. N2O is a tube shooter that was released in 1998 for the PlayStation 1 only, and it was developed by Gremlin Interactive and published by Fox. This game is very, very similar to stuff like Tempest and Gyrus, which I know a lot of people have played because those are classic games. In this game, you kind of pick a ship at the beginning, and you kind of just go in a tube and just shoot fireballs and stuff at these little insect bug alien things. It's kind of fun, and you have some really cool music in the background, which is by the Crystal Method, and it's definitely got that late 90s sound. It's kind of techno-ish and stuff. It's pretty cool, though. It's actually good. This game is definitely a challenging one, though, as you get through the game. The later levels get harder and harder, but it's still a fun game nonetheless, and you can save your progress in between levels. If you want this game, it definitely goes for a little over $10 complete in box. It's the only way to play it, too, on this system, and I don't think there's been a re-release, so definitely stuck on its, console from this generation. N2O is a fun time, though. It's cheap, and it's, unique enough to be worth in your collection. Number 4, Star Wars Demolition. Star Wars Demolition came out after Episode 1 did back in 99, 2000. It was developed by Luxaflux and published by LucasArts. Luxaflux developed the Vigilante 8 games, which are also vehicular combat games, so they definitely had a little bit of experience before this game was in development. This game has lots of different vehicles that you can choose. You can actually pick as Boba Fett, you can be in an AT-ST, you can be in a desert skiff, you can even be in a freaking pod racer. That's hilarious. But the gameplay is very similar to stuff like Twisted Metal or Vigilante 8, and you go around and just blow crap up. This game roughly goes for around $10 to $15 complete in box. It's never really been an expensive game, and sometimes at game stores you can find it for less. This is definitely a good game to choose, especially if you like Star Wars, but if you want something similar to Twisted Metal or Vigilante 8 that's a little cheaper, this one's a very good alternative to choose to add to your collection. Number 5, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was developed by Argonaut and published by EA. Argonaut was the guys who made the Croc games, as well as the original Star Fox on Super Nintendo. This game is actually not too bad, though. It's an action-adventure title where you kind of just play through the movie and kind of a little bit of the book as well, and basically you just play as Harry Potter, and you go around, and it kind of feels sort of like The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, like a little bit at least. And you have some puzzle solving elements and stuff, and you talk to people, and you collect like little jelly beans and stuff, and it's honestly not too bad. You get some magical spells throughout the game, like Flipendo and Wingardium Leviosa, and it's just a cool little fun time. This game goes for roughly around $12 complete in box at the time of this video, and you could probably get it for cheaper, honestly, if you look around, but this game has always been kind of cheap. It's definitely been on many systems, but the PS1 version, I think, for me, is the most nostalgic, and definitely worth adding to your collection if you like action-adventure titles. Number 6, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 was definitely a big game that came out back in the day in 2000, and it was one of the best games ever on the PS1. It was on everything, even the N64 and the Dreamcast, but the PS1 was what I had, so that's how I played it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is obviously a skateboarding game. It's very arcadey though. Whenever you get in there and you choose your skater and you're ready to go, you get a 2-minute time limit and you just go in and do a ton of tricks. It's fun too because once you experiment, you can do some cool stuff and get many points. And that's definitely the goal here because that's how you progress in the game and unlock different areas to go skate. This game goes for roughly around $10 complete in box at the time of this video. Now, I say time of the video, it's really probably never going to go up again. This game has been remastered on PS4 and like Xbox One and stuff, so I know a lot of people are probably going to play it that way, but I don't know, I've got nostalgia goggles with this game, so I go back to this version every time I want to play it because I definitely recommend it. It's a fun, good time on the PS1. Number 7, Final Fantasy IX. RPG is definitely something I wanted to put on the last video, but I ran out of time and I didn't think about it until after I did all my editing and stuff. So here we are now. What's a good role-playing game though on the PS1? There's several good games, but for $20 or less, I had to choose Final Fantasy IX. This is one that a lot of people definitely like. I didn't put a whole lot of time into this, but I did see my friend play it one time, and the gameplay is definitely just very simple, good old-fashioned turn-based combat. It's got a good story to it. I think the graphics look pretty decent for the time as well. Final Fantasy IX is just a good choice, and a good role-playing game for starters for the PS1. This game goes for roughly a little around the $20 range. It says $24 for the black label, but the greatest hits is less than $20 technically. Now, I've seen eBay listings though for both that are around $20 pre-shipping and stuff. So you can definitely get it for around there, so it does qualify. Final Fantasy IX though, this is one that people really love, and you should definitely have it in your collection if you like role-playing games. And there you have it. Those are 7 more games that I recommend for anyone who wants to start collecting for the PS1 and wants their own little library to play physically. I could keep going and making more lists like this because there's still more games that we could talk about. There's so many for the console. There's over 1,000 games that came out in North America, so there's definitely quite a bit of stuff there. So don't be scared away with all the price jumps on stuff. just know there's definitely games to be found on the console that are cheap. If you don't want to collect the games though and you just want to play them, then definitely go by other means to play those games, and you might be able to play some on PS5 possibly, for a few of them at least. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this kind of content, be sure to give it a like. If you got something to say, leave a comment down below. And of course, if you want to see more content like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, take it easy.